Welcome in. It is day 278 and you're speaking to the Meeples Champion. And today we're going to be jumping right back in talking about yet again another game that we saw at PAX East. Now yesterday we went into a game called Compile. It's not quite available yet for the public, but it's one that I had seen played and I wanted to talk about. Today we're going to be doing another game that is not yet available. However, it was far further along the process and we expect it to be out soon. The game was called Skyrise. Now, the game was beautiful, and definitely the one I saw was the deluxe version. So this may not be what we see when it gets to if it ever ends up in stores, which I would expect it to, because based on what I looked at, the game looks amazing. The idea of the game is that you got this big playmat. In what looks like the deluxeified version, it's actually risen up. It's a three-dimensional board, which is really cool. And you've got different sections, different topography, different symbols. You place out all of these different things on the board that are basically your topography and then the things that might be in it. Like it might have a gear, or it might have like a water, something like that. Now, when you start, there are 4 center spots. And somebody gets first turn and they're going to take one of their Skyrises and place it out there with a number. So you might place one out with a 6. Now the next opponent's up and their choice is they can go anywhere from where you placed to place a larger number, or they can pass. So they do theirs. Now the next person's up and they get the same option. You're going to keep doing this until one of 2 things happen. Either one is you're going to end up at the corner of the board and there's nowhere else to go. You can't go back on a prior Skyrise. So if you're not able to complete your placement, then you're going to end up having to say pass and you're out. Or you're going to get to the point where the number that they placed out is higher than any of the numbers that you have left, and therefore they win. Either way, all of the ones that lost are brought back in and put onto your collections again. And the person who won, that Skyrise has been spent. It is permanent there, and you pick up what's there from the board. Now, there's extra rules to this that I didn't quite know yet, but you're basically going to collect the resource that was physically put on the spot, and you're going to get some kind of a point based on the topography that you ended up on. Then, once everything's been taken care of, it is now the player who won gets to go again. And starting from the spot they just got to take over, they're going to place another tower. But you're starting at scratch. Doesn't matter what the prior tower's number was. You can pick any number to start at. So a lot of times you're trying to get to a corner, because then once you've gotten one, you might be able to say, okay, well, I placed my biggest building out. So now I'm not going to be able to beat people for the biggest building because mine was spent. But now I have the availability to place out this really small building right into a corner that nobody can go anywhere from, and I'm going to get to take that one too. And once you've done that, you're done again. Now, when it's somebody's turn, they get to place from any of the placed buildings. So obviously you're cornered, they can't place from there, there's nowhere to go. But they could pick from the building that you went from, they could pick from the beginning, 4 spots in the middle again, and you're going to keep doing this. Eventually, as the game continues, you're going to unlock your skyscrapers. There are bigger buildings, other numbers, and a couple buildings that are, I think it's 4 per player, that are no number. It's just an auto win if you place it. And you're gonna get this at about the midway of the game. And when the game is done, you're going to go back in and you're going to score based on the resources you collected and the placement of your buildings, and there's going to basically be a bunch of math to be done. But this is just a really interesting puzzle game. I really liked it. It seemed like a game that was right up my alley. I obviously backed a lot of Kickstarters this year, so I know that the upcoming year I'm not going to have a lot of money to spend. I'm going to actually be trying not to buy anything new for the remainder of 2023. But my finger crossed hope is this game might skinch just into 2024 before it gets released, so I could back the Kickstarter. We'll see where it ends up, but for now, I'm going to jump in, we're going to talk our 7 categories, and we're going to see where this game lands for us. When it comes to the art, the box is fantastic. I really liked the design of their box. It grabs the eye, it's appealing, and the board and the pieces and everything about the art of the game goes right in the same direction. It's just a beautifully crafted and drawn game. Huge thumbs up. When it comes to the components, I mean, again, deluxeified, so I don't know what the basic one's going to have. But essentially, the board was a really nice, almost like I want to say it was like a wooden or stonish type board. It was very well put together. It probably was plastic. I didn't pick it up. This was one board they had available for display, but it looked fantastic. Then there were the pieces, which were definitely a nice, again, either a heavy plastic or a light stonish type feel. Maybe wood, but it didn't look wood to me. And then there were the little pieces on the board, which are definitely all cardboard. And to me, everything looks really good, top quality. Again, this is probably the deluxe side version, but it's all I could see, so it's all I can judge. To me, thumbs up. Your price. Now, this is where it's going to take a hit. Obviously, for one, it's not available yet. So that's always a hit. But I'm not going to hold that against it since it's clearly at the end of its being created area. They were just kind of getting the awareness out for it. So it's really about what is this going to come down to for price. Well, deluxified version, I'd be shocked. I believe when I spoke to them, they said that was likely, that version was going to end up going for somewhere between $75 to $100. For me, the game looks beautiful, but I don't feel like there's enough game there necessarily for me to spend that much. Now, if you were to get the simplified version, where does that going to rank? If you tell me it's 60, I'll think about it. I will think about it because it's a beautiful game, but I need to see how that basic game looks. If it's 50 or less, I'm in. So I think because the game looks so appealing, and it does feel like that there's not going to be a game I'm truly comparing it to, I would be willing to spend the 50. I'd definitely spend the 50. I'd be willing to spend the 60, and I would consider the 75 for the deluxe. I just want to see what else really comes with it, and if there's any more to the game I'm missing. But for me, the price seems worthwhile. Thumbs up. Your difficulty. So the difficulty is, I think kids and beginners can go, sit down, play this game, they're going to have a fun time. But I think, just like, say, a game like Azul or Sagrada, that this game has for those experienced and experts, the growing ability of, yeah, it looks simple, but there's so much more depth to it than you realize, so you just have to be willing to take your time and try. And for me, this game looks like it has plenty of opportunity to jump in there, delve deeper, and make it a really good back and forth struggle. I think the difficulties for everybody, thumbs up. Replayability. Now, I'm not sure how long the game's going to take, and I'm not sure player count exactly where that shifts in and out. But to me, it looks like it's probably about an hour, maybe a little bit more. And I think with that kind of play, this is one that I could easily pull out, maybe not multiple times in a day, but I could see it being pulled out multiple times in a month. And I think this is one that I would be trying to push a little bit more to my table because I love those abstract games and those moving around the board, filling in spaces, area control, resources, points all over the place type games. For me, this looks like one that could easily be on my table, a good couple dozen times a year. So I think replayability is a definite thumbs up. Keys to victory. So it's about how you pay attention to your opponents and how you move on the board. You might see that you have a real good chance at scoring a particular topography really well. So you know when you see somebody heading in a direction, it's time to pull out of something. You might also see that you've managed to target somebody and that you know that they've used a few big buildings. So when it's time, you know you can use a medium building to snag something, and you're holding your big building so when you're later in the game and you're trying to hit the really important required spots to grab. You also have to be aware of how long do you wait on those buildings before they unleash all the extra buildings you get, which all of a sudden might make it that you held off of your number one guaranteed victory building, and now buildings have come out and it's no longer number one. So you've wasted that opportunity. So there's a lot of keys and routes to victory here. I think that there's definite options. Thumbs up. Unique. Is the game unique? I mean, yes, it's area control, but the way that you're building off each other and then it's only the final building built every time, that's really interesting. I've never really seen a game like that. This almost a hopscotch of building, and at the end result, I guess, I don't know what their storyline behind it is, but it almost feels like you're saying society was building up, but the last one was the one that was really sturdily built and everything else kind of collapses. And that now that's back into your repertoire of stuff to use. I really like that. It's unique to me. Thumbs up. Overall, what do I think of this game? I'm super excited for this game. I cannot wait to try it out. Am I going to back it right away? Maybe not. Now, partially that's because if it comes out in 2023, I'm just not backing anything else this year. But the other part of it is, even if it comes out in 2024, I need to be sure what that price range is, and I need to be sure how much I'm getting. Am I getting the base, or am I getting the deluxe, or am I getting some type of a Kickstarter exclusive even bigger than that? And how much money does it go into it? That being said, I'll still, even if I don't back the Kickstarter, I'll see for when this gets in stores, which I'm confident it will. And when it is, I'm going to go check out the pricing there, and I guarantee at some point I'm going to get this game. I think it looks like a game I will really like, and I think a lot of you out there will end up seeing that not only the beauty of the art, but the game style is something unique and that you'll want to try it too. So I recommend try to keep your eyes out. Look for Skyrise if you can out on your Kickstarters for any awareness on Board Game Geek, and hopefully you'll get an opportunity to try it one day. Well, it has been day 278, and we've been speaking about the game Skyrise, and you've been speaking to the Meeples Champion. Like, share, subscribe, and check down below in the description. If one day the Kickstarter does come out and I'm able to catch it in time, I'll try to put it down there so that you can log in and potentially back it for yourself. Until next time, I'll talk to you tomorrow.